Welcome back.
I don't even understand how you got me back on here.
I don't know how
Okay.
we did it either. Okay, but we're talking about Chris Brown, his 18th birthday.
Yes. Okay, so I don't know where I left off because it just goes to show you I had like 22 messages. Um,
Really?
yeah, in my DMs. Thanks a
Oh.
lot, QL. But okay, yeah. So we were talking about Chris Brown. At the time, I'm working with a young kid named Chris Brown. And what people don't know is uh, Chris Brown is still, love him to death. But at the time, being 18, this is the young Chris Brown. He
Right.
had. Let me listen to you guys. He had one tattoo. One tattoo the time I was working with, and he had just gotten that tattoo because he had it covered up. So this is how long ago it was. He was a baby.
Wow.
But, interestingly enough, Tina Davis, who was his manager at the time, she also is a Def Jam alumni. That's how, obviously we ended up in the Chris Brown camp, is that Tina Davis worked at Def Jam when she signed Chris and decided to manage him. So quiet as kept. We're doing, obviously, in order to do the Sweet 18, you also, as a publicist, we pitch. People forget. Things just don't happen. You just, you know what I'm saying? Like, where's my stuff at? I'm a magazine hoarder, okay? You just don't, just so you guys can see this. You don't just end up on the cover of magazines just, because you're just great, okay? You don't just end up on them because you're fabulous. Look at that. G Magazine. Yeah. You don't just hop up on them out of nowhere. There's someone who has to coordinate, pitch, which is sell, create, and tell your story so that you're cover worthy or at least article worthy to be a part of it. But even these shows, we pitched Chris Brown, he was new. So it wasn't like they was like, oh yeah, let's do it. He's new. Like, okay, well, we do 16. Okay, we'll do. Right. Yeah, we'll do it. So we do it in New York at Jay-Z's club, 4040 Club. Shout out to the 4040 Club. So Monique and I, we fly into New York, get to New York, get to Chris's hotel. He had just gotten a puppy, and he was dating Rihanna. Now, it was a secret that he was dating Rihanna. So at the time, we were trying to figure out how she was going to arrive to the party separate from Chris, so that the paparazzi, which were also outside the club, they were going to be outside the club, wouldn't catch them together. Because we didn't want to attach Rihanna to anybody because she also was a star. So we pull up, we say, okay, well, Chris, obviously you're going to get there at a different time. You never want the talent to arrive before the guests. So of course they arrive. Everything is great. Everybody was there, from Jay-Z, Beyonce, the whole Def Jam crew. It was just an amazing party. Yes. There was a surprise, and I know Monique will remember this, that was amazing. I'm going to tell you guys a surprise. You're not going to believe this surprise. So we get there. Chris arrives. Sweet 16, Sweet 18, they're filming everything. Chris does not know what the surprise is. There's going to be an actual surprise for Chris that is going to floor him. Crazy part is it kind of got botched, but we were able to say it. So when Chris arrives ahead of time, Rihanna arrives. This is the time that it actually broke that they were dating, because we obviously didn't do a great job of keeping it a secret. Not because it was us, but because they're canoodling in a booth together. Okay. Yes. They didn't stick with the plan. So it was, everybody was there. We had pictures. So it came time for Chris to get a phone call. And so we're trying to figure out how we're going to make this phone call. And this is before camera phones, y'all. So it would have been great to do camera phone. And the call was coming in, was going to be from the beautiful place of Neverland and Michael Jackson.
Wow.
And at the time, you guys know, that was one of Chris's amazing idols. He looked up to Mike. Mike loved Chris. I think that was a life-changing moment, really getting the chance to talk to Michael Jackson on the phone before he talked to Chris, that I'll never forget. So that being said, we were able to get Mike on the phone, but we had to go through like 5 or 6 different calls. And this is at a club. While the music is blaring, the DJ is going. We're telling the DJ to turn the music off. And if you turn the music off, people get antsy because they don't know what the surprise is. We need everybody to just be quiet for 2 seconds. So we're queuing it up. We're thinking Mike's about to get on the call. And then there's like, hold on, we're going to transfer you to phone number 3. And could you please hold? And we're like, oh my God, this is not happening. We went through 4 or 5 different codes before you got to Mike.
Get out of here.
Finally, yes. So finally, when the king of pop picks up, the DJ's music cuts on.
Shut up.
Now, y'all know Mike don't talk that loud.
Right, I was just about to say that.
So where I am running, Monique is like, go tell the DJ to turn. I'm running to the booth. I'm telling him to cut it off. I'm looking for cords to unplug. You know, that's probably D-Nice would not like that. But I am literally in a panic. So another lesson learned. So finally they cut everything off. How do you get Mike to say what he was saying again? Because Mike is just talking. He can't hear what's happening. So finally, once they cut the music off, he was able to say again, happy birthday, Chris. This is Mike. I don't know if you know who this. People went bananas. It was the most amazing thing to ever be a part of, to ever surprise somebody with. Is not only did I have a young Chris Brown who was a baby, like I loved him so much, who was very innocent and talented. Only to be gifted with a surprise phone call from, you know, the king of pop himself, Michael Jackson. So that was beautiful.
That is what's up. And another story that you talk about is I remember you were telling me about this dating story between Jay-Z and Beyonce.
My God.
Keita, can you tell that story before you go? Because I know we done went way over our time. We like at 1 hour and 20 minutes now. But
you're keeping me hostage, yes. Well, I'll say this. You know, the best part about my job is the experiences that, you know, I can look back on and say that was such a personal moment.
Right.
A lot of my growth and knowledge and wisdom has come from me messing up, has come from me, you know, thinking it's a trial and error, that the world is going to come to the end, thinking I'm going to lose my job. But so quickly, so this Beyonce story that I'm going to share with you guys, and I'll make it really quick, is it was Houston, Texas. I was working for, again, Def Jam Records. They always put me in these weird situations, and maybe it was because, I don't know, they're like, go put the new girl.
But this was probably thing once you take the situation, though, and you know what you're doing, for real.
Well, you know, I know what I'm doing now, maybe not at the time. I'm good at winging things, and I think the one thing I tell people all the time, the way you show up is the way people remember you, and I am really big on having a good energy and aura. Personality is key for me. So even if you are messing up and you're nice about it, people will have a better understanding. So I'm in Houston, Texas. I fly in. We're about to announce Def Jam South. At the time, Def Jam was only in New York and LA. So we're announcing Def Jam South. Ludacris is in town with his manager, Shaka Zulu. You know, all of the other Def Jam artists are flying in. Ja Rule, DMX, all of those guys are there. Scarface was also signed to, you guys know Scarface, was signed to Def Jam South. So he was hosting it. I fly in. Now, at the time when I was at Rogers & Cowan, I actually worked with Destiny's Child. So I already knew Beyonce. So when I got to Def Jam, they had just started, Beyonce and Jay-Z had just started dating. No one knew. I arrived to this, I was told to meet them after the hotel. I actually called up the management for Jay-Z, and I was told to meet them at a restaurant called Papados. So we meet at Papados. And as I arrived, now mind you, I'm on a time crunch. Everything is always on a time crunch. We have this crew called BET Access Granted following them for the day. Not necessarily Jay-Z, but following the Def Jam artist.
Oh, got you.
Access Granted, BET Access Granted, which was similar to, you know, MTV's Behind the Music. So they're following us along. I get to Papados. The artists are in the back. And as I get there, I'm stopped. They're like, whoa, we can't bring the cameras back here. I was like, oh, well, they told me that we were cleared to shoot in Papados and to shoot you guys eating. They're like, no, So they said, you come to me, the cameras have to stay. I go to the back. I'm just like, oh, my God. You know, here we go again. Get to the back, and I now see the reason why we can't shoot is because as I get to the booth, Jay-Z sitting there, Scarface, a couple other members from Def Jam, and on the other side next to Jay-Z is a chick with a hat on. And she looks up, and she's like, oh, my God, hey, Keita. I was like, Beyonce? Now, mind you, I didn't know they were dating either.
Right. Oh, really?
No, I didn't know that. So I'm finding out at the same time that she's lifting up. She's like, hey, I mean, there have been rumors, but this confirmed it. So, and I still have the old tape from my center. So she's sitting there, they're talking. I give her the biggest hug because, you know, obviously this is new for me. And I was so grateful for her because, you know, at the time when we were there, at some point in the dinner, she told Jay-Z, like, you make sure you make sure you look out for her. She's good. She's a good one. She's a good one. And I was so grateful for her to even take the, you know, because I was still new. You know, Hope didn't know who I was at the time. So we get up. I'm thinking we're leaving to go do what you call a couple of press runs. So we leave there, and our next stop was to stop at the studio, Scarface studio. No, we leave the restaurant, and before we leave, it's like, yo, let's catch the bus. I was like, there's no charter bus? Like, what are y'all talking about? They're like, yo, let's catch the bus, man. It's gonna be amazing. Like, let's catch the bus to the mall, not just catch the bus. Let's catch the bus to the mall. I was like, y'all done lost y'all damn mind. I then, you know, remember what LL Cool J had told me a couple weeks before. I was like, listen, we are not about to catch the bus right now. Yeah. We have to go to the studios, and we got to make sure that we do A, B, C, and D. So Scarface, who, you know, is he's like, yeah, we're going to do all of that. We're going to do all of that, little mama. We're going to do all of that. But first, we're going to catch, Beyonce chimes in, I've never taken a bus before. Let's do it. I was like, girl, no.
Oh, my gosh, he talked just like that.
Right. I was like, girl, no. So we're walking out, and you guys, not only are we walking out in Houston, it is so hot and humid, it starts to drizzle. Right? Now, this quarantine hair is quarantine hair, but back then, you know, she was silky straight trying to keep it together. Yeah. We're standing on the bus stop, and I am praying in so many tongues to the Lord Jesus Christ that we do not get on this bus, because if we get on this bus, all of my bosses are in town, Russell, Simmons, Kevin Laff. We get on this bus, I'm going to lose my job because they waiting at the studio. The bus comes. Scarface is like, yeah, we're going to take the red line or whatever line to the so-and-so, and that drops us off at the mall. I was like, you cannot be kidding me. We get on the bus.
With Beyonce.
With Beyonce. So it was Beyonce. Do you guys remember Beanie and Freeway?
Beanie and Freeway, yeah.
Beanie and Freeway, Beanie Siegel and Freeway. They get on the bus. Ludacris gets on the bus. We all get on the bus. Keita Williams gets on the bus. And we're riding public transportation. You know how the back of the bus is the long seat, so they're all in the back. They just looking like we at Disneyland. Like, we're stopping off at Mouseketeerland. She is just having a ball. She got her cap down. She's like, I never rode the bus before. This is so cool. I was like, girl, it's not cool. So by the time we got to the third or fourth stop, there were mobs of people, because people were texting people saying, yo, Jay-Z's on the bus. They never saw Beyonce because she had her hat on. And if you recall, this is before Crazy in Love. This is before she became, you know, part of Sasha Fierce, the Beehive. This is before she was the bomb. She was just the girl in Destiny's Child. Jay-Z was the star. So we get to the end at the mall. When I tell you, we looked out, you would have thought it was a tailgate happening. We get off and they're chanting, Jay-Z, Jay-Z, Scarface. I was like, I'm about to lose my job.
I'm saying, like, what was going through your mind during that time? I mean, because you were supposed to get on that bus.
No, we weren't supposed to get on my bus. The whole time I'm on the bus, I'm not riding like it's a joyride. I am feverishly on my, you ready for this? On my SkyTel pager. Which is a pager, you texting people like 911, what should I do? Like, how do I make them get off? We can't stay on the bus. And remind you, we didn't have, there was no, what's Beyonce security? There was no such thing as him.
Julian.
You ever know Julius? There was none of that. We had one security, and that was for Jay-Z. And he wasn't that helpful either. So he wasn't helping me. I was like, what are we going to do? He's like, I don't know. It's on you. I was like, on me? So we get to the end of the bus. By the time we get there, I thought I was going to lose my job, because on the bus walks Russell Simmons and Kevin Liles. They get on the bus. And I said, Lord, I just might as well just get off this damn bus and just pack my bags and go home, because I know I'm fired.
Right.
They get on the bus. They like, what the heck is, what the fuck is happening? So they laughing and giggling. You know how when you're in trouble with church, or you know your mom and them, and you get that eye, and you know they laughing, but they're really not laughing. They like, I'm gonna get you when you get home. That was that. They looked at me. They was like, they like, yeah. You with them? I was like, yeah, okay. Cut to Monday morning, after everything, we get off the bus. Beyonce's like, this is the best bus ride I've ever had. Like, I've never done a bus before. Like, this is so cool, and I'll never forget this. Looking back on it, I'm glad I had a moment like that with her. At the time, I was just looking at her like, it's your fault. If you had just said you didn't want to ride the bus, Jay wouldn't have rode the bus. So the Monday morning, we get on the call with the team of people at Def Jam. Russell Simmons and Kevin Liles are on the call with the whole team, and they're like, yo, who was responsible for that fucking bus ride? Excuse my language. That was theirs, not mine. And everybody that was a part of the call was like, oh, wasn't me. Who's responsible for our artist getting on a public bus? Everybody's like, it's the new girl in LA, Kita. I was like, that would be me. They were like, speak up. I was like, it was me. I was with the artists at Papados when they said they wanted to ride the bus. So we just want you to know that was the best fucking idea we've ever had. Was the bus ride made everybody realize that we real up in this piece. So in the moment, you think that something that's chaotic, that is out of control, but what we really created was a moment with the fans that was so real and authentic that made the president of the company look at it as a real, fan appreciation component. And the next morning, everyone from Page Six in New York to the talk shows were talking about these artists that got on the public transportation bus with the fans. So that is so crazy. So crazy. Very crazy. Not crazy in love, but very crazy.
Kita, oh my gosh.
Yeah, so, that back then I would have needed the Beehive to get anybody off that bus, but that was then and this is now.
Was like, my career is over. I might as well just, go ahead and choose something else. It's not going to happen for me at this point.
Yeah, I might as well just, not even take this career route. I'm going to be blackballed forever. But the beautiful thing that I will say is when I think I expressed to you earlier, sometimes you got to let life unfold and take the ride. And, literally that's what I did with the bus is I let it unfold and I took the ride. But even in that space, I still was trying to be intentional and focus on what the game plan was. But the game plan was let's just ride this bus with our fans. And luckily I have a memory and an old VHS tape to showcase that.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to check that out one day. I'm in LA. Kita, listen, from all the people you worked with, from Beyonce to Jay-Z, Chris Brown, Rihanna, Janet Jackson, Elton John, Bruce Willis, and the list continues. What would you say you have learned the most from Hollywood? Like, what can you take the most from Hollywood? If you was to pack your bags and to leave this career today, what would you say this PR world has taught you?
Well, one life lesson that I will say is I would never trade my soul.
Okay, I got
for success. A lot of times people come in the industry and they'll sell themselves short. They'll, switch up and do things that they would never do. Mm-hmm. But the one thing I've learned in this industry is to be authentic, is to be a hard worker, to also, making sure that you walk into the building that you're willing to do anything with integrity. That will allow you to shine. And if that means, I've done everything from go get coffee to get copies for papers, to go pick up, at the swap meet, some white tees and some Air Force Ones. I've done it all. And I've done all those things from being an intern to being a CEO. And there's not one thing that is too big or too small to make sure that things are done in a way that's going to be successful. So my biggest take home for anybody out there is, be how can I say this? Be focused on your goal, but don't be so focused on your goal that you miss out on the journey. Mm-hmm. All these stories that I'm telling you guys wasn't done in a matter of 2 years or 3 years. This has been a process from me, being, working in a space with all these celebrities as an assistant, as a junior publicist, as a director, as a CEO, but even in those times with everything I've been through, I've never switched up who I am. So stay true to you. Make sure that, and I'll say this too, a lot of times people chit chat about other people based on what they have or they don't have, never talk down about other people who are climbing up, so just know that, whether you dress the part or look the part, you're not the part if you ain't done the work.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. So whether you dress the part or look the part, you ain't the part if you ain't done the work. And I've done the work. And that's the most valuable thing that I have to take with me, is that, you know, I am exactly who I am, and my walk matches my talk.
Wow, I love that. So many gems. What's next for you? So we do have your website. Somebody just put in the questions.
Yes, thank you, Felicia.
Have on. They can get that shirt on your website, though.
Yes, you can get this shirt on my website. And also for Mother's Day, we have a whole Mother's Day collection for Mother. We have a whole Mother roll call shirt as well. But yeah, go to authenticallyher.co, and we have all kinds, not just this, what I call entertainment industry shirt, but I also have an entrepreneur roll call shirt. I also have something for those mothers out there. But what's next for me? Other than, you know, really working on continuing to evolve and pivot and shift, is I'm actually going to be doing some Authentically Her master her classes.
Really? Okay.
Yes, and it's called The Game Changer. It's called The Game Changer. Really understanding how to either get in the game, stay in the game, or switch up the game in terms of your space professionally and personally. And it's free. I'm not charging you for it, but there are limited seats. So if you go to my bio, I'm going to post the signups for it, because there is limited seats. I know so many people do have questions about things, you know, whether you're an actor, writer, director, creator, producer, filmmaker, shot caller, whatever you for 27 days. You can hop over, and I'm going to share a lot more of the things that I've acquired on my journey. And hopefully I can give you guys some true gems and lessons and how to apply it to your own brand and business.
Real soon, Keita, you have to put the pen to the paper and put out a book.
Oh, you think so? You know, the crazy part is, as a publicist, I can share some things with y'all, but I can't share everything. So what kind of book do you think I should write? I can't tell everything, because some things are personal.
Well, you can't tell everything, but you should definitely put a price mark on it. But I think that you should tell a, you know what I mean? Like, just tell your story, or not tell your story, but tips on how to make it in the industry. So maybe like that young, you know what I mean, talent that's trying to figure it out and maybe don't know what it is they want to do, whether it's a model or TV host, radio host, journalism, whatever it is. Maybe you can kind of share your way to success and kind of help them along that way of that process, because it's definitely a process. And there's some times where you're going to be told, no, you can't do it. But there's some people that tell you yes, you know what I mean? And I've learned that, most importantly myself, throughout these past 2 years, is to not get discouraged in the no, but just keep going. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay. You dropping your gems. Okay. I might have to, you know, that's a whole nother venture, but I can see that. And, you know, actually that's what the class is not the whole entire class, but I really I felt compelled.
Comments that you gotta get a book out here, Keita. So you have to. I'm sorry, but we already put it out there in the atmosphere. It's out there, so it can't go back. That's all I'm saying.
Well, we're not going back.
I want to see a book. Matter of fact, if you put a book out, I'm buying 5 books, and I want to donate to some young talents in the industry. So
I love it.
These people under here already said they want you to write the book. So all I'm saying is, Keita, all you got to do is put the pen to the paper, and we purchasing the book. That's it.
Well, let's do an audio book. How about you cut and edit together some of these amazing stories that I put together, and that way people can have a small snippet in the preview, and then you can co-author with me on some of these things, since you know you got me over here on your live, spilling all of the business in places and things that I haven't really shared with a lot of people. So that might be something to think about.
That's a good idea. See, you know what? That's why I love Publicists, because you guys think like on the second, and you just go with it. That was a perfect idea, and I don't see why it wouldn't work.
Yeah, you know, it might. Well, QL, let me ask you this question, because, you know, I think the crazy part is I've seen you grow and evolve. What is the one thing that, you know, I always tell people, I know advice that people have given me that's helped me along the way. What's some advice, whether it's for me or anyone else that you've gotten that has helped you
along the way? I'm going to start off with this. Jackie Clark Chisholm from the Clark Sisters, she was the very first person that gave me the opportunity to interview her. And when I first started, a lot of people that know me personally, I have a speech impediment. Radio helped me find myself in a way. But not only that, I've learned how to deal with the speech impediment through music and through beats and through tapping and all that type of stuff. I don't know if you noticed in the interview, but it's just my way of getting through it. But I remember sitting down and talking to Jackie, and I was so nervous, and I stuttered through the entire interview. And she took my hand. I had the phone in my hand, and she was like, you got to understand that these people that you're interviewing is just like you. We go through everyday things. We have situations that go on. We are not higher than you are. You know what I mean? It just so happened that we have a platform that is larger than yours, and it is what it is. And I took that, and I was like, these people are just like me. And it's so crazy because I've been able to work with anybody you can think of in the industry, not on like your caliber, but as it regards to like going to Hollywood and just, you know what I mean, like working on sets at Warner Bros. And being on set with Niecy Nash and Matthew Knowles, and the list continues. I was able to use that advice and take that with me, because beforehand, Keita, I would be afraid to get on a live like this and just talk and talk and talk. But I think it was because I saw celebrities, or not more so celebrities, but I saw influencers, and I saw them in a way that, you know what I mean, I kind of saw them apart from me, if that makes sense. But being time with you and being in LA and being with the magazine company that I was with, I was able to learn more about the industry than I ever knew. You know what I mean? Or I thought I knew about the industry until I got with that company. I was like, whoa, like this world is totally different, you know? So I would say that that was the advice that I took, and it still sticks with me to this day, especially when interviewing, you know, some of your favorite celebrities and actors and actresses. I kind of take that talk that we had on that front pew in that church, and it resonates with me to this day, you know, because a lot of people ask me that. They're like, Will, you talk to almost everybody. How can you do this? You know what I mean? And do it so effortlessly. And I just say, you know, I'm just myself. I cut on the camera, cut on the light, and I just open my mouth. Whatever comes out, comes out. And, you know, it is what it is. Like, for instance, this conversation, I had no idea it would have ran over an hour and 15 minutes. I literally had 40 minutes, and that was it. And look at us, you know what I mean?
That's because you're good at what you do. And like I said, the gift that we're all given is important to know that no matter where you are, no matter what bus stop you get off on your journey, the one thing that you will always have and that you'll always take with you is your gift. And, you know, the gift that you have, which is one of the things that people, you know, you can't package and put in a bow, is that you actually have the gift to be able to have that fiber and that thread to make people open up to you and to share things with you in a way that does make it very personal. Working in this industry, PR is personal as well. And the gift to be able to work in personal spaces with people is important because they trust you. You know, so when you do your interviews and, you know, whether you have a speech impediment or not, I never knew you had one, because when we talk, we just talk. So the gift that you have that keeps on giving is allowing people to really share who they are authentically. And that's all we can do, is show up as our best selves every day, and stop looking for others to define our own walk, and look to yourself, because you can't be a trailblazer or a game changer in life if you're copying the same steps of someone else. Create your own path. Take the notes of someone else and apply it to your space as organically as possible, so that it is your own harmony that you're able to share with everybody else. So that's the number one key to me.
What advice would you give somebody like myself who is in the industry and they're wanting to take it to the next level, but maybe they're still on that local level and they're okay with being on that local level, being in the community that you grew up in, but you're ready to, you know, head out to New York or Chicago or to Houston or to LA? When do we know that it's ready? You know what I mean? Like, that we're ready to make that next move. Because a lot of people, they make those moves prematurely, and then 6 months later, they're back at home. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, one of the things, like I said, I didn't know anybody when I moved to LA. I honestly bugged the hell out of this poor lady that worked at Entertainment Tonight, because what people don't know is I got my career starting off as a TV reporter for an ABC station in Kentucky after college. Yeah. And I have my journalism degree. I also have an MBA, which I acquired after college. But my journalism degree got me my first job as a producer for the news. And then I became a TV reporter. And at the time, I realized I wanted something different. I wanted to work in entertainment news. But there was no entertainment in Kentucky except for the Kentucky Derby. So I actually looked in the credits of Entertainment Tonight, which is where I wanted to work. And I saw Linda Bell Blue, who was the executive producer of the Entertainment Tonight show. And I called Entertainment Tonight. They're toll free. They're like, you know, main number. And y'all, this is before Google. Okay. So this is like 1999. Okay. So I called, and I never forget, I spoke to this lady. Her name was Miss Trish. And she knew my voice because it was quite distinctive then. I had a little bit more of a twang. And I kept asking to speak to Linda Bell Blue. So not only did I ask to speak to Linda Bell Blue every time I called, I said, "Hey, Trish, this is Keita from Kentucky. How are you?" I approached her with the personable component. Even though I was trying to get to the person behind her. See, people fail to realize that you might be trying to get into the party, get into the VIP entrance, but there's always somebody standing there before you get to there. So just remember to have that relationship with the person that's standing there, even if you're trying to get to there, because usually they're the ones that'll give you that access first to be able to be a part of what you're trying to get to next. So talk to Miss Trish over the course of time, maybe 2 months. And finally she says, is this Keita from Kentucky? Before I could say, hey, Trish, it's Keita. I was like, it's me. She's like, what do you want with Linda Bell Blue, honey? I said, well, I want an interview to come and get a job. So she's like, that's not going to happen. But if you want to intern, you can come and send your stuff in. Sent my stuff in. Now, mind you, I was working as a TV reporter on air at 20 years old on air. And I literally sent in my stuff. I got an interview for an internship. Flew for the first time on an airplane. Don't judge me. At 21 years old, I flew for the first time on an airplane to Los Angeles with my best friend, Kay Gay, and we got here. I went to do my internship. Went to do my interview for the internship, even though I was an on-air reporter. Okay. And while I'm doing my interview for the internship, I'm talking to the lady. She does everything. She leaves. She comes back. She's like, okay, well, we'll call you. We still have more interviews to do. And being who I am, because I'm all about putting it out there, I said, okay. I said, well, do you know when you might know about, who you're going to select? Because they only selected 4 people out of the thousands that they may have had. She said they may have had about 300 or 400 applicants. They only chose 4. So she was like, well, we're not really sure, but we'll let you know by June. I said, okay. I said, well, I was just wondering because I am going to be catching a flight to back to Kentucky, and, I would need to, arrange my travel. And she said, wait, you flew here from Kentucky to do an interview for an internship, unpaid? I was like, yeah, I got on a plane and flew I was like, yeah, it's my first plane ride. I came out here with my best friend to do the interview, and my flight leaves tomorrow at 9. So, if you do, can you, give me a heads up so I can at least get a ticket to be here if, you select me. And she goes, hold on for a second. She leaves. She was gone maybe like 15 minutes, comes back, and she goes, listen, she says, I went to talk to my boss, and I told them that I think we found the first candidate for our internships, even though this is only our 3rd day of doing interviews, because what you just showed me was that you were really willing to do whatever it took, whether it was catching a plane, train, or automobile, to go after what you want. And that's the kind of intern that we want. That's the kind of employee we want. So the nut of the matter is, or the truth of the matter in that space, in a nutshell, is that it didn't matter that the internship was unpaid, and it didn't matter that, I caught a flight. The true notion was that this person realized I went above and beyond, even though in her mind, she felt as though that was a bit much, right? So catching a plane to go do an internship only to turn back around and come home, she realized that showed her work ethic. And the ability to be able to do something that they were looking for. So I ended up getting the internship, and I moved to California June 24th, because remember, it was in June, and I never came back with $5,287.64. Entertainment Tonight offered me an internship unpaid, even though I was making $24,000. And I moved out here, and I haven't been back home. I'll go back home to visit, but I haven't been back home since.
Wow, you got a hell of a journey.
Yeah, so shout out to Entertainment Tonight. So yeah, go after what you want. My advice to people is, if it's someone you see that you want to talk to, go talk to them, but know what you want to say. You don't have to have it coerced, but be intentional, and also be personable. Always remember something about that person that's going to make them remember you. So for instance, with Trish, I knew that she was married. She had 2 dogs. One dog's name was Luke. The other one's name was Jelly Bean. I'll never forget that. And every time I called, I was like, how are the dogs? She's like, oh, they're good. So when you find out a personal nugget, if a person has, they say, hey, Keita, how's Grayson doing? I'm going to remember if you asked about my son. So find out a personal nugget about somebody. If they like, coffee with cream and 2 sugars. The point is when you go beyond the actual accolade that they're known for, whether it's a celebrity who's a movie star or what have you, if you go to that personal route, that's what's going to make you stand out when you shoot that email. Like, hey, how are you? This is, hey, how are you? This is John. I'm just hitting you up. Wanted to touch base. And by the way, hope all is well. And I hope that, your wife is doing better since having the baby. It's important to to add those personal notes in, because then it makes that person realize that you're not just coming into their space for what they have to offer. You're coming into their space offering them something that they can actually say, oh, wow, thank you. I appreciate you, you know, looking out for me that way personally. So those things matter. Connecting. That's called network.
The power of networking, for real. I mean, it's important in this industry. Like, you got to get out there. You got to network, especially saying in LA. You can't sit in the house all day. By 9 o'clock in LA time, you should be out doing something. I mean, now not during this quarantine, but before the quarantine, I mean, you got to get out and get going. That was one thing that Steve Harvey told me, and I'll never forget. I went to a show in LA. It was maybe it was back in like October. It was his last episode before he went off the air. And one of the things he said was, if you were to move out to LA today, you have to understand that the stock market starts 3 hours early than what the time that we're on. So he was, you know, to telling us like, yo, if you come out here, you got to get up early. You got to get out there. You got to grind. You got to find that money. Because by the time you wake up 10 o'clock, half of the money already home because the day is about over.
That is so true.
I've taken that. And that has resonated with me every single day until, you know, I find that next move. I'm content. I love Greenville. I love South Carolina. I love the station. But I know one day there will be a time where, you know, I have to get up and move and go somewhere else. And that right there is something that I just always remember Steve Harvey telling me that about moving to LA. Because, I mean, LA is a dream city. LA and New York. I'm just throwing that out there. You know what I mean?
Well, come on. I'm here too. Come on now.
They got to crash on the couch for a little while. You know what I mean?
Come on. We got 2 couches.
I feel you, Keita. Thank you so much for being a mentor from afar, for being a sister to me, for being a friend. I really do appreciate you, and thank you for the gems that you dropped during this interview. Part 2 of the interview, I guess I would say.
Part 2, part 2. That's right. Hey, all I know is it's all about making history, and if we made history with this double interview, then good. That's what I'm known for, right?
Yes, for sure. Celebrity publicist and TV personality, creator, producer, trailblazer, and much more. Y'all give it up for Keita Williams. Thank you for sharing her story. For real, for real. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me share her story.
Yeah, and definitely check out her website, which is authenticallyher.co, and get that cool shirt, all right? Keita,
yes.
I love you, and I'll talk to you real soon, all right?
Love you. Talk to you soon.
Time out. I got to get your followers to do something for me real quick.
Okay.
Let's get the comments off. We got to take a picture.
Oh,
and then
okay.
DM it to me so that I can post it. Keita's camera is real blurry right now. It's the Android, y'all. I'm trying to tell you. Hold on, Keita. We trying to get your face right. All right. All right. She's good. Y'all ready? Let me get right.
What'd you say? Did you get it?
No, I had to wait till your camera was pixelated a little bit. All right.
Okay. Is it better now?
Yeah, we're better now. Ready? Cool. Thank you, y'all.
Hold on, wait. Let me try to get my shirt. Hold on.
Oh, let's get your shirt. Okay. But keep it focused a little bit so your camera can clear up.
Okay.
There we go. Oh, wait. Time out. It's coming. All right, here we go. Y'all ready? Cool. Now, y'all send that to my DM. I'm going to post that. And Keita, again, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Now, you know I got clients to do, so I got to run. Love you so much.
Get back to the celebrity world and motherhood, too. Make sure you tell the family I said hello.
I will do that. Hey, T. Clark. Hey, everybody. Hey, Cuzzo. My cousin Marlo's in the building. Everybody's here. I got 5 on it. Okay, Jamila, yes. That's one.
Y'all make sure y'all follow Keita, too.
Yeah, follow at Keita Pup Diva. Find out all the great things that I didn't spill over here on QL in the QL world. So, love you, QL. Let me go.
All right.
We'll talk soon.
All righty.